Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 12 Things Gone Forever, 1960s Life in America. And this is a channel that I reacted to yesterday, and it's also a channel that's similar to one that I reacted to before, from stuff that people grew up with from the past, from the 80s, 90s, and this is obviously the 60s. And I've been really enjoying these kinds of reactions because I'm sort of seeing how, I guess, the world was, or just how different things were not even that long ago, what, like 30 years ago, minimum 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and obviously with this one it's, what, 60 years ago. But yeah, I enjoy this sort of stuff, and I guess some of you who grew up in this time or were just interested in this time, or you had parents from this time or whatever, you know a lot more about it, and I don't know really what else to say, but I've been enjoying these reactions, and yeah, I can see there's more of this kind of stuff. There's the same video for the 50s, another one for the 60s. Yeah, there's just loads pretty much that I can check out if you'd be interested in me seeing them, but I don't know what to expect, but we're going to check this out anyway. And yeah, links are in the description to my Patreon as well if you want to see some more reactions that I can't post to YouTube. But let's check this out and see this video. "12 Things Gone Forever."
In 1963, Pepsi launched its first Diet Cola with a name that evoked
Patio Diet Cola.
kicking back in the shade on a hot summer day. Patio Diet Cola was basically Diet Pepsi, and it would be rebranded as such just a year later.
What the hell?
But that first year saw a variety of patio flavors enter the market, including grape, orange, and root beer. You might even remember fitness guru Debbie Drake as the soft drinks spokesperson.
Can't believe they had this similar name to Coca-Cola. Were they like, did Coca-Cola not like that and they made them change the name or something?
Fizzies were tablets that were developed in the late 1950s.
Lemon flavor, cola flavor. And what, they're just tablets you put into water?
That would add instant carbonation and fruit flavor to a glass of water. The Emerson Drug Company sold the sugar-free flavored tablets to wide public appeal, and by 1968, the product was even outselling Kool-Aid.
Damn.
Unfortunately, the sugar substitute in Fizzies included the sweetener cyclamate.
I knew there was going to be something wrong with it. I was thinking to myself, they probably put some crazy chemicals in it and stuff, because in these times I feel like it is a bit more lax. And also, I'm interested, I saw in the cola one as well, the Pepsi one before, it said sugar-free, and it said, no, sorry, it said free calories. I didn't realise, even in these times, there was such an obsession with diet cola, like diet sort of versions of drinks, or no sugar in things, or low sugar. I thought that was like a more recent thing, what, from maybe like the 2000s and stuff, but I guess it's been a thing for maybe 100 years. This is obviously 60 years ago, maybe more than that. I didn't realize it's been going on for that long. The obsession with like having less sugar in things, or low calories and no sugar in. Well, obviously the sugar's replaced by sweeteners and stuff, like he says here. I guess this sweetener has something that it can cause in the body.
Unfortunately, the sugar substitute in Fizzies included the sweetener cyclamate, which was eventually banned. That, along with the short-lived fizz and diluted flavoring, led to its eventual demise. Mercurochrome, a dark pink over-the-counter antiseptic, was used on just about every cut and scrape during the 1960s. It stung, it smelled funny, and it stained everything.
Oh, damn.
It also happened to be in just about every medicine cabinet in the US, until the FDA figured out that drugs containing mercury could be harmful.
It had it says Mercurochrome. It had mercury in it. Oh my god.
Harmful to us. Kids who grew
Mercurochrome. God damn.
up in 1960s America will undoubtedly remember Uncle Milton's ant farm. The ant farm was heavily promoted in comics and magazines, and went on to sell 20 million farms to kids across the country.
Damn.
After purchasing an ant farm, you also had to mail a request for a shipment of 25 ants, which would arrive in a vial a few weeks later. Although the ant farms are still being sold today, it was the ant farm craze in the 1960s that caused them to hit their peak.
Ant farms have always interested me. There's a channel on YouTube I swear is like a really like that has like all different types of like ant farms or different kind of similar things, and that channel really interests me as well. I've never had an ant farm, but I mean I can imagine as a kid in this time it would have been really cool because you don't have the sort of the things that you have now as kids, like all the things you can do. So having an ant farm would have been really interesting.
Hanging out at the local candy store may have been your first taste of freedom and your first experience with spending money. You could go with the change from your piggy bank and buy all the sweets your mom didn't allow you to eat at home. These stores range from novelty shops and pharmacies to 5 and dime stores.
Pharmacies?
Kids often went in packs after school, and no one worried too much where you'd been as long as you didn't spoil your appetite.
Penny sweets. It's like pick and mix,
Hosted
right?
by America's oldest teenager, Dick Clark, American Bandstand was must-see TV for every kid growing up in the 60s. Not only did the show help us discover new artists like Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Sonny and Cher, and Tina Turner, but it also taught us hot dance crazes like the locomotion and the mashed potato.
Mashed potato. Is that the song? Do the mashed potato. What's the song? I've heard the mashed potato song. I don't know what the hell it is though. I can't remember.
Baseball has never been more exciting than it was in 1961,
Okay.
when Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, who both played for the New York Yankees, were in a neck-and-neck race to break Babe Ruth's then-record 60 home runs in a single season. On October 1st, during the last game of the regular season, Maris ended up hitting his 61st home run against the Boston Red Sox.
That is crazy.
Bicycles
61.
with high-rise handlebars and a banana seat.
Aren't they called choppers, these bikes? These are like the bikes from this era, man. When you think of like, what, the 60s, 70s, these are the bikes you think about for sure.
Resembling a chopper motorcycle, instantly made it the coolest ride on the block. First produced by Schwinn in 1963, kids loved it because it had a comfortable padded seat that was big enough to carry more than just one rider. As BMX entered its heyday in the 1970s, bikes with banana seats fell out of style. But baby boomers can never be convinced that any other bike makes for a more idyllic childhood.
They are cool, to be fair. Unique.
TVs in the 1960s were gigantic, heavy, and usually mounted in a big wooden box that looked like a piece of furniture. The console television not only antennaed in the latest episode of The Andy Griffith Show, but it also provided enough room on top to show off all of your family photos.
God damn, it is big. Wait, so all of this comes with the television? Jeez. Got a Christmas tree on top. Hey, you're making the most of your space. I respect it.
During the 1960s,
Oh my
expectant
God.
mothers across the United States would commonly be seen smoking.
That is wild.
At the time, no one really understood the damage that could occur from smoking cigarettes while pregnant. The doctor-endorsed advertisements, along with a
The doctor endorsed advert. Flipping hell, that's crazy. This is a different world in that aspect. Jeez, man.
lack of research on the topic, had mothers everywhere thinking it was completely fine. But it would later be found to increase miscarriages and contribute to other problems like low birth weight.
Wild. I mean, there was a point in time when they thought smoking was healthy, right? And I thought like probably from the early, probably like the 20s, maybe the 1930s. They thought smoking was like actually good for you. Or there was a point in time where they thought it was good for you, right? That's wild to think. Obviously, that's the time they were in, and you can't really argue against it. If everyone's saying it, you're gonna think, oh, that's fine. But it's just crazy to look at hindsight now, to think that they were thinking that was a healthy thing to do.
The British rock group The Beatles were a massive hit with American teenagers in the 1960s. By 1964, when they landed in America, the Beatles were greeted by more than 3,000 crazed fans at the airport before they were whisked away to prepare for their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. Within 2 weeks of arriving in America, the British invasion, as Walter Cronkite called it, saw 5 Beatles songs entrenched in the Billboard Hot 100,
Damn.
including the top 2 spots. And their televised performances had broken all ratings records, making them international superstars.
Number 1.
It was a moment in
Getting to the moon. I forgot that was in the 60s. Damn.
history that nobody alive at the time will ever be able to forget. The Apollo 11 mission occurred just 8 years after President Kennedy issued the challenge, and as he took the first human steps on the lunar surface, astronaut Neil Armstrong called it one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. For everyone who saw it live on TV, which included a worldwide audience, it was the most amazing thing they had ever seen.
And I just don't know. But we've not been to the moon, for like 30, 40 years. I would love to see like this footage nowadays and just to see what it's like, because it would just be so fascinating. There's still so little we know, and there's so little footage of the moon and all this sort of stuff. Or people walking on the moon. But why have they not attempted it? Do they just think it's like not worth the money? Are they looking into doing other stuff that is more effective or better for research or whatever, maybe? I guess it just costs a lot to just go to the moon when they already know so much about the moon, maybe? I don't know, but in these times, imagine how scary that would have been as well. The first people to go to the moon. I'm sure there were attempts before that maybe didn't go correctly. But you would have been so nervous. Maybe not them because they were trained for it, but god damn. They would have been absolute heroes. For sure.
If you enjoyed this video,
Damn, well there we go. Just a few things from the 60s that, I mean, are gone forever, but some of them, I mean, I know about them. Like the chopper bike, I know about that. Going on the moon, a few others and stuff, but there's definitely some positives and some negatives. It's just, I guess, how it is. There was like the smoking one's crazy, man. Smoking whilst pregnant was just seen as fine, but again, if you're told by your doctors that it's okay, you're gonna do it. The biggest thing gone from America is peace of playing outside all day long, knowing nothing will happen to you. I mean, I don't know what it's like. It was like then, to be fair, so I can't really give my opinion. Let's not forget the stereo hi-fi. It played 33s and 45s and was very fancy. You could place a stack of records on the spindle and it would automatically drop the next record. It was a lovely piece of furniture. Damn. Yeah, but hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. If you want more of this sort of historical looking back at certain things, I will be 100% down to do that, because I find this all really fascinating. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully this gave you some memories from your childhood if you did grow up in this era. But yeah, that's that, and until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.